Here in Manila, as you know, from my previous live chats and videos. And I just wanted to bring up the spec on what's going on here. It's what, Thursday afternoon, about 3 o'clock. I'm about to go to the gym in a couple of hours' time, but I'm chilling out in a Wendy's food house. I come here actually because it's very comfortable, decent sofas, not the hard chairs, really pleasant atmosphere, that you can just chill out wherever you like in the sunlight. Huge big windows, and the food is pretty good in terms of quality and price. But as you can see, I've got a great view of the kind of like the inner workings of the town. It's not a big town, and it's actually keeps me well away from the major areas and big shopping malls. But what I wanted to talk to you about is today I came here after not being here for a couple of weeks now actually, and I saw a young lady, which she's quite nice actually. She just reminds me of my daughter, but she was sitting on her own and she's just getting on with her stuff. But she had this kind of rather reserved, low key aura about her. And after like being here half an hour, I was doing my stuff. I looked over a few times and she seemed kind of shy and wouldn't make eye contact with me. But I thought, you know what? She left her bag and walked to the toilet, which was only about 20 yards across the room. And I was a little bit dumbfounded as to why she would do that, walk off and leave her bag just sitting on the sofa. So anyway, when she was coming back, I just thought I'll mention to her that it's not a wise thing to do. It's not something you do any place, let alone in a place like Manila, where anybody can walk past, pick it up, because everyone's struggling to survive. And I'm not saying it's just about poor people that would pick it up, but an opportunist seeing that opportunity would jump to it. So anyway, when she was coming back, I said, "Hey, you know what? I don't think you should do that. That's you're really risking everything you've got in that bag." And she instantly realized what I was saying was true, and she nodded and thanked me. And what Filipinos tend to do is, and I like this word. To me, I find it very attractive and very endearing, as they call everybody Po, as in Kung Fu Panda Po. And I think it's a respect for elders, or actually, it's probably a respect for everyone that you meet. But I think it was originally for approaching or showing respect for someone older than you are, whatever you are. Um, but anyway, she was happy about that. She sat down doing her stuff, and again, she was incredibly shy and turned her not turned her back away from me, but to engage in any further discussion, I could see she was very uncomfortable. So I thought I carried on for a little while, maybe 10 minutes, and then I decided, you know what? I can't just let her sit over there. I'm going to say something. So I just called her. I said, "Hey, how are you going over there?" I said, "Are you at school? Are you at school, or are you just out for a break or something from work?" And then she kind of responded half-heartedly, but with a kind of a cautiousness. And this kind of raises my game, because when I see people like that, I don't want anyone to feel that they can't communicate. I don't want people to feel that just existing and being reserved to a point of don't speak out because you're afraid of what others are going to think and say and how they're going to reproach you. I was, I was suddenly I suppose you could say my white knight moment came along, and I thought, you know what? I said, look, I want to talk to you about some things. You want to come over? And she was not sure. I said, look, come on. So I pointed to a chair away from where I am, but in this kind of area here. I'm here, and I said, look, come sit here. I said, let's talk a bit. I said, I'm sure maybe we could find some common ground. Like, you look on your own. You look quite on your own, a bit like you need some sort of one to talk to. So let's just do it. And I said, look, you can get up anytime you want when you feel uncomfortable, and you can leave. So it's not an issue. You're not bound by this. So anyway, she sat down, and we were talking, and I could see she had braces on her, and she was very cautious and nervous and conscious of it. And I thought, after talking to her a few minutes, I said, you know what? You need to smile a lot more, because to be honest, she had a nice smile. She had a really nice, warm, gentle face, the kind of face that you want to approach. That kind of face, and the youngness of like a teenager kind of thing, who you believe is almost like a blank sheet, a blank page, basically sheet of paper, with not much experience on there, and I had to add something. I had to try and bolster her a little bit. I don't know. It's a failing or a weakness on my part, but I want to do this. Anyway, she sat down and we started talking. The more we talked, I kind of tried to drill a bit deeper down. I can see that her English wasn't very good for a Filipino. I'm surprised actually here in Manila that she could only speak a few words, but she understood what I said. Not necessarily that she can report back or respond back in kind. And I said, look, first of all, I want you not to be afraid to say anything that comes into your head when you want to, if you want to, and if you need more time to explain something, feel free. There's no rush. I'm not rushing anywhere. You're not rushing anywhere, are you? And we talk. And after talking possibly for nearly good on 2 hours, I could see she kind of had a whole different feature come over her, like a flow, like she had this almost like an awareness and a sense of more, what do I say, of a reassurance value just kicked in, almost form of like an epiphany that she realizes, maybe I am a little bit hard on myself, or maybe just simply because she had a low esteem or something. Anyway, during the conversation, she mentioned she was a twin. And I said, oh, wow. I said, do you have a lot in common? Do you share a lot in common, like behavior patterns and interests? And she goes, no. In fact, my other sister is much more extroverted. She's the introvert, and the sister's extrovert. I said, wow, that's interesting. And then I painted a picture a little bit about me and my sister. We're not twins, but that we share certain things that might relay and coincide with what she was talking about. But as the hour or two went on, I think I actually talked for nearly 2.5 hours. I could see she was relaxing her shoulders. She was starting to smile a lot more. And I said, look, you're doing a lot with your teeth. I know people, quite a lot of people actually got braces on because people are doing things to correct problems they've got. They're trying to enhance themselves, bring themselves back to what we would call the norm. And I said, don't ever feel afraid to. I said, you've got a nice smile, just smile. Don't put your hands up, don't block it, don't block your mouth every time you smile, because instantly people see that as a low esteem thing. And people tend to use that low esteem and shyness against you. Maybe not intentionally, but they do. People do. So I said, so right now, I said, I want to see from the next time I meet you, if when you're here and we're chatting and stuff, I want to see you smiling. I want to see you just speaking a little bit louder in your decibels because you're very kind of like subdued and I have to really listen in. But I said, you know what? I think given a month talking with me and explaining things and so, I'm sure you're going to find yourself coming out of your skin and I believe you will find a different side of you. I'm not saying I'm so experienced that I can tell you everything, but my experiences might be something that would help to rally more of your own personal strength and help you out. So, if you want to do this more in chat, I'll teach you some English and whatever else. And I explained that I did teaching in China for a while. So I might be able to imbue her with some important aspects of the English language and get her to pronunciation and just basically exercise the oral tones and stuff. So she seemed happy about that. And anyway, she's going back to college. And I thought I'd just put this online to show you that sometimes you see people sitting and you're thinking, should I? They look like they want to be left alone. But in fact, I think a lot of people don't want to be left alone. They want to be engaged, though they may not be the most lucid or communicative by nature. They want to. People want to share. People want to be part of something. And I'm glad that I did. So power to you, girl. Alicia. So hopefully we meet a few times and chat and I can help her out. But yeah, good stuff. Well done, girl. Bye bye.